Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Ginger Gorilla Talks, and I am John, the Ginger Gorilla. So, let's get right into business. This is the first podcast of Ginger Gorilla Talks. So, basically, this whole podcast is going to be breaking down why the podcast, what the podcast will be about, and what got me into video games in the first place, which will lead into Fortnite and lead into what this podcast will be in the upcoming future, whatever, you know? So, first, Ginger Girl Talks. What is it going to be? So, the idea I have is for right now, we'll start about talking about video games, talking about upcoming news, things on the internet, any breaking things, any news about video games coming out, updates to Fortnite, Call of Duty, games that I play, anything you guys suggest, if I get suggestions, and console updates, things like that. I just want to talk anything and everything video games because I love video games. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Why video games, right? So I'm going to start with a story that, really is my first memory of playing a video game. Living in the same house I live right now, my first memory is walking into my sister's room and she has one of those, I think it was the N64, right, the Nintendo 64. I cannot be 100% about that, but I think it was the N64. But it was that duck hunt game. Everybody knows the duck hunt game with the gray gun. You'd point it at the screen. You try to shoot the ducks. Still don't understand how that worked, right? Because, when you really think about it, with the Wii in the future, there was the sensors. So, for games like that, the sensor would track where you were aiming. I have no idea how this duck hunt game worked. But my first memory was trying to play that game, having no idea how it worked, looking at the gun, thinking how crazy it was that you had to shoot the ducks on the screen. And ever since that, I think I was addicted. Now, my second earliest memory was when I got my own first console. Right? I was never really, I played little kiddie games on the PC. Most of them were educational games because I was a bad learner when I was a kid, so especially English and stuff. So my parents would buy me these CD-ROM games for educational purposes. I don't even remember most of them, but I remember playing them, ideas of playing them. No specifics though. But that was, I guess, one of the earliest things. But then there was a Christmas when my parents got me and my sister, technically, a PlayStation 1. The hours I spent on that thing, that was really it. That's what started my addiction, that PlayStation 1. And up until a couple years ago, those games would just sit in my room. The PlayStation 1 CDs, I had it all, man. We had the classic Spyros that were out for it. I think they was out for that. Tony Hawk, I know I had the Tony Hawk game. Man, I can still picture certain maps on Tony Hawk, and it just gives me goosebumps to think about knowing about it, just feeling that whole goosebump of it. I don't even know how to explain it. But all of that, it was really just something that hooked me. Just being able, you do your own thing, having the controller. I've always been a controller player. And there's just something about the video games that you could get lost in it, and it was me. Now, one thing about my personality, even when it comes to sports, I was never the best team player. And video games, although a lot of them are team games, like online now, Call of Duty, things like that, it was a lot about me, how well I could do. I could track how well I'm doing, right? And even in the beginning of video games, when it was all story mode games and stuff like that, it was just, you need to progress your skills, right? For Spyro, you need to get through the levels. Crash Bandicoot, you need to get through the levels. And those were the earliest games I played. And then I moved on, and I remember getting the PlayStation 2, getting an Xbox, like the OG Xbox. I had both those games. My dad would always just buy me these cheap, like $2 Bang games for Christmas, and just I'd play through those. Um, but then back when Blockbuster was still a thing, they had a Game Pass, so you could get a game and you get it, keep it as long as you want. So you rent the game for as long as you want, and you could always, whenever you want, you could go in and switch that game out, and you paid monthly. So of course, I had to force my mom to play that or get me that. So I would just play everything. Oh my God! Whenever a new game came out, I'd have to go and get it. When it was a big game like Call of Duty or something like that, if I didn't buy it, I would be at Blockbuster that day. Sometimes I would get my mom to go in the morning when I was at school or something, when Blockbuster opened, and go and get that game, swap them out, so that I could play it when I get home. Like, it was just like so many games that I was like, Ma, I need it. It's coming out today. I need you to stop and go get it for me. So on and so forth, right? And she would. And I just remember that. And it makes me so happy that like she would go and do that. That's crazy. But I remember just being able to walk down the aisle of Blockbuster, look at all these games, and be like, man, like, what do I want to get now? Like, am I getting Mortal Kombat? All the Tekken games? Am I getting a new shooter game? Battlefield, Call of Duty, Halo? Like, I cycled through them all. And the thing was, I kept getting all the consoles. Like, I'd want the new console, and so I'd have all these games. I had an Xbox, I had a PlayStation, and I would get each one so I could play console specific games. I just wanted to play them all. And it just, over the years, it was just what I loved to do. I would do other things in life, play sports. I got decent at being a student. I'd have friends, but video games were always there. No matter what was happening, I knew I could go home and play video games. And my video game setup changed throughout the years. It was on my TV in my living room, and then in my dining room, my parents gave me this little wheelie hut and an old box TV so I could have my own little video game setup. And I remember I would just sit there on the floor in the dining room, in the corner, in front of this little TV box setup, and just play, right? And this was before anything was hooked up to like the internet. So I would just sit there and play. And my parents would be watching TV in the living room right next to me. And I'd like yell, and they'd be like, shut up. And I mean, that's never changed. That's still happening. But I had just all these memories of me just playing video games. Go to my cousin's house, play video games there. Then we'd all start playing RuneScape, and then this is like the first time I'm playing online with a game, right? Because like I didn't play computer games, so it wasn't directly connected to the internet, my console. So I didn't really have that option. So I was playing RuneScape. And then my first time or first memory of playing a console online was at my cousin's house, right? And his dad was more tech savvy, so he got the PlayStation 2 set up to hook it up to the internet. And I remember playing Call of Duty online. I think it was the Call of Duty. It may have been Battlefield. I cannot remember, but it was one of those two games online on PlayStation 2. And it absolutely blew my mind. And that's like, I was like, this is it. This is where the addiction started. Now, in the moment, I wasn't thinking that, but like, now I look back, and that specific memory is like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, this is where everything starts. And it just went from there. I love shooting games. Like, you get to play up against people, and the highs are high, the lows are lows. Like, and it's crazy because when you hit some awesome stuff, it feels so good. And I can't explain it. You get that adrenaline pumping. Your mouth tastes different. You get jittery. Like, it's crazy. Um, but when you lose, you're just like, I'm better than that. At least me. Like that competitive edge comes out, and I'm like, man, I'm better. I could do better. I know I could do better. And you have the next game to try to do it. You get to progress. You always get to say with your friends, like, hey, man, like, I'm going to progress. Like, I'm better than you at this, blah, blah, blah. All that trash talking is so much fun. I mean, and that was it. Like, Halo was one of my first games where I was like, man, I want to play this for hours and get better. Halo 3, man, on Xbox. I just played the hell out of that game. Or was that Xbox 360? I don't even know. I can't remember if it was on Xbox 360 or regular Xbox. But that game, oof. And then Call of Duty Modern Warfare, man. So, this might be another reason why nowadays, like, video games is so strong in my heart. Around like 7th and 8th grade, like, I played Little League Baseball. I had friends. I was doing good. I'd skateboard. And I had this awkward half a year, maybe even a couple months. Like, I don't even think it was anything that crazy. But, like, 8th grade into freshman year, where I stopped playing baseball. I stopped skateboarding. And that was my main way of hanging out with friends. Like, I didn't really have any other hobbies, but I loved to play video games. And I'm pretty sure that was around the time that Call of Duty 4 came out and was big, right? Maybe even World at War started coming out. I don't know specifics, but I was playing every day. Come home from school, played video games. The summer hit, I would just play video games. I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't want to skateboard anymore. I didn't play baseball. I didn't have any sports to play. But I had video games. And I'd play with my cousin. I have so many memories of playing video games with my cousin, friends from school that I got their usernames and we'd link up and we'd play video games. I made friends online through video games. Now, I don't really talk to any of them anymore because life did get in the way eventually. I strayed away from video games for a couple years. But it was just one of those things that the video games were there for me, right? I could go home and I could be me on that game. I could play the video game and now I don't suck at it, right? I could talk some trash. I'm not bad. I'm not the nerdy kid. I'm me, right? And it was a different persona. No one knew what I looked like. I didn't know what you guys looked like. So you can't, like, go against that. Whenever someone would say something or make fun of you, could be like, well, dude, you're doing the same thing as me right now. You're playing video games, right? And it was an escape from life. And I didn't realize it in the time that that's what I was doing, but later years now, it really hits home that that's what it was. I want to escape. I needed to escape. I had nothing else to do. And I just played and played and played. And it was to the point where during those years, my parents were concerned. They're like, oh, no, he's just playing video games all the time. Which, given back then, I mean, up until a year and a half ago, there was no careers in video games. You couldn't make anything from it. So it's understandable that they were concerned. Their son is sitting in his room playing video games for hours and hours. And in their mind, it wasn't any social experiences. It was just me cooped up in my room, not doing anything, right? But that's where the addiction, it was just like constant. And then even after that, when the Call of Duty faded, right? Because we had awesome Call of Duty games, Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty World at War, Modern Warfare series, the first couple Black Ops, right? Until it started getting like futuristic and sketchy, that was the game. Then I played Halos, right? I'd always play the Halo games. I think it was OTSD or whatever it was called, Halo Reach. Those games were dope. And then that started getting cheesy. Like, after a while, the series gets repetitive and you got to move on. Always played RuneScape because, it was online. You could grind some skills. Was never the best, right? I don't think I was ever the best video gamer because I never really had the idea of playing competitively. Like, I never even knew that was kind of an option back then. I heard of game battles. I would mess around on it, but it wasn't anything crazy. But it was just the thing I love to do. And competing online, playing in those games online, it was my absolute favorite thing. And then linking up with friends. Amazing. I remember one of my good friends nowadays, right? We would spend nights where he would come over my house, sleepover, or I'd go over his house, and we'd play Call of Duty, right? Online. But dual screen, just so we could be in the same house, and then play against people online, grind it out, get some gun challenges, right? It was an amazing feeling. But the video games were always there. Every friendship I had, I connected video games to it. I remember friends in school. We'd talk about Grand Theft Auto, the new Grand Theft Auto, how far you are. Did you unlock everything? Any cheat codes they found out, right? And it was just, it's played such a pivotal role in my life that it only makes sense now how addicted I am, how much I love playing, and how I connect such a big part of my life to it. And then now why I want to talk about it all the time. It's one of the main things on my mind. Work, my close relationships with my girlfriend, friends, family, video games, and maybe like MMA and football, right? These are like the main things. Not in any specific order, but those are the main things in my life. But video games is there, right? Every day I go on Instagram, I look at different posts. I think about the new Fortnite updates because that's the game right now. And it has been for a year and a half. And that's what's going to lead me into this, right? So, I'm not going to lie. If you don't like Fortnite, a lot of this podcast right now in this moment, it's going to be centered towards Fortnite news, updates, and talking about the state of the game. Along with, I'm going to throw in some Call of Duty there. Like, I'm very excited for this Modern Warfare. Now, the thing is, I'm excited about it, just like I've been excited about other games. But I honestly can't say how much I'm going to play it, because right now I want to play it a lot when it comes out. I don't really want to mess with the beta because I don't want to build any ideas off of it. But I want to play it, but I don't know how much I'm going to be able to because Fortnite, man. Now let me get into this. Fortnite. I think Fortnite is the most addicted I've ever been to a video game. I cannot lie. This is the game. It has changed my whole mindset. I mean, and it's changed gaming in general. Think of what it's done for video game culture. Right? Now, you may not like the people who it's brought into, like streaming and the popular gamers, right? Now, Minecraft, you got to give Minecraft what it has. Call of Duty, you got to say Call of Duty is a great game, and it's done amazing things. But Fortnite and the popularity of Fortnite has been astronomical. It's changed video gaming. One game, not a series, one game. It's made streaming relevant. It's made playing video games a pop cultural thing. Drake plays video games. All these rappers play video games. All these sports stars play video games. And it's brought it to the point where now people could see a career streaming, competing, creating YouTube clips, a creator, right? Video gaming is seen as a viable option if you're really good at it, if you invest that time. Now, I think just like anything in life, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a comedian, if you want to be a sports star, not everyone's going to make it, right? There's going to be a lot of people who try, but now video game has that lane, video gaming, right? You don't have to be, like when I was younger, and when people would throw out, I'd be like, oh, I'd love to like work in the video game industry. And in my mind, there was a couple options. Creating video games, which just never seemed fathomable for me, right? I'm not the most creative person. So coming up with ideas for video games, and then programming I didn't even know what went into it. And then like video game testing, right? But the problem with video game testing was the way I thought about it as a kid was if you went into video game testing, what you'd have to do is like play video games, but then it becomes a job. It would ruin it. You'd always think about that. It would ruin it because you're looking for bugs. You're looking for glitches. You're looking for this. You're looking for that, right? It's not video game testing where like you just play the video game for fun and they're like, oh, what do you think of the game? No, you have to critique it. You have to break it down. And then now you could play video games for fun, have fun with friends, and create great content, and that could be your job. That's the dream, right? Right now, there's so many kids who see Ninja, Tim, Dr. Lupo, Tfue, any person in the FaZe clan, right? PewDiePie, maybe. I mean, and then there's millions, I don't know about millions, but there's thousands of names I don't know who are making careers off of streaming and creating content. And this was not a thing 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? That is amazing to think about. That is absolutely crazy that within the last couple years, video gaming has gone from just something people do in their basement, that stereotype, you're fat, you're overweight, you're pimply faced, right? And you're just playing in your basement by yourself, you're socially awkward, to now it's a social thing because everyone knows you could talk with your friends, you could stream, you could talk with people on there. And there's viable career paths. There's people commentating on video games. You could go to Fridays at Applebee's, and I've seen it by the bar on one of those TVs, the Rocket League World Championships and esports, right? Like we're selling out stadiums. It's amazing to see where it's come in my lifetime. And I'm excited to see where it goes. And that's just a brief overview of why I'm doing this, why I want to start this podcast, and why I'm excited just to talk about things, right? So let me just get into my main obsession right now, Fortnite, right? So I've been playing Fortnite since the end of Season 2, and it has been the most addictive game. Now, I'm not saying I haven't played other games while playing Fortnite, but the problem is I thought I'd play those games a million times more. Red Dead Redemption, Spider-Man. What other games have I bought and barely played? There's just a bunch, right? Call of Duty to play online, Blackout. Barely played it. And some other games. And it always goes back to Fortnite. Now, let me explain why I bought those games and why I thought I was going to buy those games. Because Fortnite hasn't always been the most enjoyable game. It's been the most addicting. Now, I love Fortnite. And I don't know why. It truly keeps dragging me back. I play it, and I play it. I get angry. I yell. But I love it. That feeling of getting a dub, that feeling of outbuilding someone and then killing them, it's like nothing else. It satisfies that competitiveness in me like no other game has, right? And now, I'm not saying going 30-2 in a Call of Duty game back in the day, that probably brought it out in me, but I never realized it, right? Getting a nuke in Call of Duty and just ending the game, that probably brought it out in me, but you don't get it as much as maybe I get it now, right? Maybe I never took it as seriously, but Fortnite has been this game it's the perfect storm. I'm at a point in my life where I could play these video games and enjoy them, and it truly it destroyed anything I thought about, like, playing anything else. I've tried playing these games, and I'll play it, and it's fun, and I know it's a great game, but I just want to hop on Fortnite. I could play by myself. I love playing with my friends. I mean, I love watching Fortnite content. Everything about it it's so much fun. And I don't know why. Like, you think about it, like, the shooting is good, but the bloom is frustrating, right? The building is fun, but there's some mechanics that it's just like it hitches. Maybe your walls don't get up. You get shot through things. It doesn't always make sense. And it's frustrating, right? And it pisses you off. But then it all comes together and it drags you back in. And that means so much, especially when I get on talking about this season, right? I think this season has been the worst season in Fortnite history. They haven't listened to anything that the communities wanted. They don't take the game serious for competitive reasons. If you really think about it, like, yeah, they're doing the World Cup, the Fortnite Championship Series, but when you think about having a balanced game for competitive mode, it's not there, right? There's still mechs. Like, everyone's wanted those gone, but they're still there. There's other weapons that they've introduced into the game that people are like, what are you doing? These rift zones really aren't conducive to a competitive game. Now, are they fun? I think they're so much fun, right? But competitive-wise, not there. And it's just, this game, this season has been a real disappointment. The skins are all right. I mean, not amazing. And the game's just been so frustrating this season. But saying that, have I played it any less? No. Have I switched to another game? No. But has the community? Yeah. You see streamers not wanting to stream it anymore. You see people falling off. A lot of the students I work with, they don't want to play Fortnite anymore. They're always like, they're saying it's washed. They're saying it's dead. And now I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's washed. I mean, if you look at the numbers on Twitch and stuff, it still gets big numbers. But when those streamers, when the major streamers go and play Minecraft, Borderlands, the new Call of Duty beta, that's where the numbers are then. They switch over. People are watching them instead of the game. Now, Fortnite's still getting astronomical views, but the majority of them, other games are beating them when these streamers switch over, which is good and bad, right? It needs competition. But that leads me into hoping that this next season, like, is something big. I got a good feeling about it. I can't lie. I think it's going to be something crazy. And I really hope it is. I mean, just looking at what they've done this season, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, so right now we're recording this on September 21st, right? We have 2 weeks till the new season. And I honestly could say I have no idea what they're going to do with this game. There's rumors of a new map. I think they're going to have a new map. Just completely start fresh. And I think that would be a good move. But they need to do something big. Because there's a lot of hype around the new Call of Duty. There's a lot of people, including myself, saying it feels like old Call of Duty. It brings back that nostalgia feeling. I wouldn't mind going to play it. I'm excited for it to come out in October. But saying that, Fortnite needs to come out with something hot this new season to keep people playing. If they don't drop some fire, they're going to lose a lot. But once again, saying all that, I can't tell you where I'm going to fall right now. Because in a month, when I play Call of Duty and when I play Fortnite, both at those times, I have no idea what's going to pull my attention more, what I'm going to want to play more. And that's crazy because Fortnite has been a dominating force. Games have come, games have fallen. Apex, Blackout, all these games have come. This is going to be the game that takes Fortnite down. I've said it, other people have said it, and what has happened? Fortnite looks, shrugs, and keeps walking forward. It is the number one game in all of video games history. I don't care what people say. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. But it is the number one game in video gaming history. It has done crazy things, numbers, culturally. And that's crazy to think about. Now, a couple of thoughts I want to leave with before we end this. Let me know what you think about this first podcast when you listen to it. Let me know things that maybe you want to hear me talk about, things I could introduce, and what you think would be fun to come out of this podcast. I really appreciate everyone who listened to this, if you do listen, and I hope you come back for another episode. Now, catch me on Instagram, gingergorillagaming, Twitter, gingergorillagaming, YouTube, gingergorillagaming, and on Mixer, gingergorilla, right? Follow all of them. I'll give updates. I stream. Right now, my schedule is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 9. Streaming every day on Instagram. I'm posting Ginger Gorilla Gaming on Instagram. I'm posting clips. I'm giving story updates. And on Twitter, I'm trying to tweet as much, keep you guys updated, right? Now, this podcast, I think I'll release every Saturday. I don't know exactly when I'll record them. Right now, I'm recording this on Saturday. I'm going to release it today. But hopefully, we'll work something out. If you have any ideas for what I need to change, what you think I should do in this podcast, gingergorillagaming@gmail.com. Once again, gingergorillagaming@gmail.com. Or you could DM me on Instagram. Stop by the stream and let me know what you think. All those are viable options. Now, once again, this is John. This has been the first episode of Ginger Gorilla Talks. Thank you for listening, and peace out, everybody.